Hi, I'm Adam. I'm 33, I own a small home in a quiet Chicago suburb, and 2 months ago, I learned that my mother gave a key to my house, my safe space, to my stalker so we could talk things out. I want you to really sit with that for a second. Not a friend. Not an old flame. A stalker. Someone I had a restraining order against. I came home from a weekend wildlife photography trip to Indiana Dunes to find the man I had legally banned from being within 500 feet of me casually flipping through my bookshelf, while my mother, my actual mother, sat cross-legged on my couch sipping chamomile tea like it was Sunday brunch. Adam, she said calmly, just hear him out. He's hurting. And there he was, Raymond. The same man who had sent me over 120 emails in the span of a month. The man who had followed me on hikes, left photographs of me under my windshield wipers, and who once showed up at my niece's birthday party pretending to be a friend of a friend. My mother, in all her delusional, peace at all costs glory, gave him my spare key. Without telling me. Without asking. Just handed it over like it was a casserole. You want to know what it's like to be ambushed in your own living room by a man who thinks you owe him a conversation because your mother thinks everyone deserves to be heard. It's terrifying. And not in the horror movie kind of way. In the deeply real, stomach drop, skin crawling, oh no kind of way. Let me back up. I'm a professional wildlife photographer. Most of my gigs are freelance. Think magazine spreads, conservation campaigns, occasional gallery showings. It's solitary, demanding work, but I love it. My clients are mostly out in the Midwest. Forest preserves, Great Lakes beaches, wetland conservatories. I spend a lot of time alone. It's part of the job. That used to be my serenity. My meditation. Then I met Raymond. We met at a gallery opening in Chicago 3 years ago. He introduced himself as a creative director. I don't know what that means anymore. He asked thoughtful questions about my photos, seemed genuinely engaged. He had this rugged, unshaven look that gave him an easy charm. I thought he was interesting. Thoughtful. Within a month, we'd gone on 5 dates. Everything seemed normal, until I tried to slow things down. That's when the intensity started. The dozens of texts each day. The constant questions, where are you? Who are you with? How long will you be there? At first, I rationalized it. He was just passionate, I thought. A little anxious. Then he started showing up to places I mentioned offhand, a bakery I went to after hikes, my gym, a camera shop I liked. It went from endearing to intrusive to frightening faster than I could process. I broke it off. Gently, firmly, directly. But Raymond didn't stop. He didn't slow down. If anything, breaking up with him flipped a switch. He began what I can only describe as a campaign. Gifts at my doorstep. Handwritten letters. A hand-drawn sketch of my face left inside my mailbox. That one kept me up for days. He signed it. I see you, always. I blocked his number. He found a new one. I blocked that. Then came the emails. Dozens. He created fake photography accounts to follow me. He sent messages from burner emails disguised as potential clients. My assistant, Natalie, flagged one that asked if I'd shoot a private nature scene. It sounded fishy. It was. I traced the IP, Raymond. Again. The final straw? I was leading a 3-day photo expedition in the Upper Peninsula. Deep forest, no service. Just me and 7 clients. Raymond showed up. Not on the roster. Just there. On the trail. He smiled when he saw me, like we'd bumped into each other at a farmer's market. I froze. He waved. Hey, thought I'd join, he said. I filed for the restraining order the next day. The court process was disgusting. He showed up with binders full of printed Instagram posts, old text conversations, receipts from dates, all curated to make it look like I was the love of his life who suddenly ghosted him. He hired a lawyer who argued that Raymond was just a devoted romantic misunderstood in a cynical age. My lawyer, Michelle, shut it down hard. We had email evidence, GPS tracking, and timestamp surveillance showing his patterns. The judge granted a full restraining order, 500 feet minimum distance, 0 contact, no exceptions. I thought it was over. It wasn't. For 2 months, things were quiet. He vanished from social media. My inbox was clean. I let myself exhale. I even started dating again, a quiet, grounded guy named Jake who worked in environmental science. We'd go on hikes, cook together, laugh about how people in our professions got mistaken for tree whisperers. It felt normal. Safe. Then came my mother. My mother, Susan, is the kind of woman who thinks she can fix every broken thing with a cup of tea and a sit-down chat. Growing up, if I had a bully, she invited him over for cookies. If I was mistreated at school, she told me to kill them with kindness. Her superpower, or curse, is radical empathy with the wrong people. When I told her about the restraining order, her first question wasn't "Are you okay?" It was, "Well, do you think he really understood that you meant no contact?" I said, "Mom, it was a court proceeding. There was a literal judge. He had legal counsel." She frowned. Still, sometimes people hear what they want to hear. When I told her how Raymond had stalked me for nearly a year, how he showed up in the forest, she asked, "But are you sure it was stalking? Or could he have just been missing you?" That was when I stopped talking to her about it. I hadn't thought about the spare key in months. I gave it to her back when I was traveling more, in case of burst pipes or porch theft. She never used it. Until she did. And that brings us back to 2 months ago. I'd been out in Indiana Dunes for the weekend, tracking foxes, photographing marsh owls, sleeping in a tent, enjoying the quiet. I came back exhausted but happy. Pulled into my driveway, backpack slung over one shoulder, camera bag heavy in the other. I remember noticing my porch light was on, odd, but not suspicious. Maybe I'd left it on. Then I saw the second shadow in the front window. My stomach dropped. There should have been no one home. I unlocked the door slowly. There was laughter. The sound of tea being poured. And then, Raymond's voice. Casual, relaxed, like he was home. I turned the corner, and there it was, my mother on the couch, calmly sipping tea. And Raymond, standing beside my bookshelf, flipping through a book of national park photos I'd taken, smiling. "Hi, Adam," he said. "Been a while." I froze. The door still half open behind me. "Mom," I whispered. "What is this?" My mother looked up, smiling as if she just introduced me to a blind date. "I think it's time you two talked." I backed toward the door. "I have a restraining order against him." She nodded. "I know, honey. But he's heartbroken. He just wants to explain." I gave him your key. Those words felt like being doused in cold water. "You gave my stalker a key to my house. I just wanted to help you both." "He loves you, Adam. That's not something you throw away." Raymond took a step forward. "I've changed," he said. I raised my phone. "Don't come near me. I'm calling the police." My mother stood up. "Adam, please. Be reasonable." That's when I realized I wasn't just angry. I was done. With him. And maybe, with her, too. I didn't wait. As soon as my mother blocked the hallway, I stepped outside, phone already dialing 911, heart jackhammering in my chest like it wanted to physically eject itself from my body. I left the door open behind me. I wanted witnesses, air, distance. The porch light cast everything in a sickly orange hue. I could hear my mother inside, her voice rising in panicked protest. Raymond didn't follow. "Thank God." The dispatcher answered. 911, what's your emergency?" I swallowed hard. "My name is Adam Lawrence. I have an active restraining order against a man named Raymond Hammond. He's currently inside my house. My mother let him in with a spare key." "Is the subject still inside the residence?" "Yes. I'm outside now. I'm safe. But he's not supposed to be within 500 feet of me. Officers are en route. Stay on the line." 8 minutes later, 8 agonizing minutes where I paced the sidewalk with my phone pressed to my ear, trying not to throw up, a patrol car pulled up. Then another. Blue and red lights reflected across my windows. I could see my mother standing just inside the living room, her arms crossed tightly across her chest like she was the victim here. Raymond was nowhere in sight. One officer, a tall woman with a no-nonsense face, stepped toward me. "You're Mr. Lawrence?" "Yes." "That man is Raymond Hammond. I have a restraining order." He's inside right now. She nodded. Stay here. We'll handle it. I watched as she and her partner approached the house. My mother opened the door for them like they were brunch guests. Her tone was calm at first, then raised. I couldn't hear Raymond at all. 5 minutes later, he was escorted out, hands cuffed behind his back. His expression when he saw me? Wounded. Like I was betraying him. I came all this way, he said, voice shaking with false pain. I just wanted to talk. You violated a court order, Officer Hernandez said flatly, walking him toward the cruiser. I didn't force entry, he protested. I was invited. You were still within 500 feet of the petitioner, Mr. Hammond, she said. That's a violation. Then she turned to my mother. Ma'am, did you provide Mr. Hammond access to your son's home? My mother flinched. Well, yes. But only so they could talk. It's not what it looks like. Are you aware that there is an active restraining order against him? Yes, but I didn't think he was dangerous. You helped him violate a court order. That's a crime. And just like that, my mother, who once cried when she got a parking ticket, was handcuffed too. I stood there on my porch, numb and vibrating with disbelief, watching them both get placed into separate police vehicles. My mother looked over her shoulder at me like I had kicked her dog. I can't believe you're letting them do this to me, she said. I didn't respond. I couldn't. What was I supposed to say? You gave a man who stalked me for a year a key to my house because you thought he was just misunderstood? Natalie arrived 15 minutes later. She didn't even knock. Just pulled up in her Jeep, spotted me on the lawn, and walked over with that quiet, take-no-shit energy she had perfected over years of dealing with my chaos. She opened her arms. I didn't even realize I was crying until I felt her sweater against my cheek. You're okay, she whispered. You did the right thing. She gave him my key, I said, voice breaking. I know. I heard. You told me. Jesus, Adam. She pulled back, looked me over. You're not staying here tonight. I didn't argue. Natalie drove me back to her place. Her guest room was small, smelled like lavender and clean linen, and I locked the door anyway. Slept with my camera tripod next to the bed like a bat. Just in case. Cameron came over the next morning. He brought coffee, new locks, and a look of genuine horror on his face. Your mother did this? He asked, setting down the tool bag. She says she was helping. Helping him stalk you. She doesn't see it that way. Cameron didn't say, your mother's insane. But it hung in the air between us. Instead, he quietly changed every lock in the house. Front, back, garage. Then he installed a camera above the porch. We didn't speak much. He just did what needed to be done. That was Cameron. When things got serious, he got solid. Later that afternoon, I got a call from the local precinct. Raymond had been booked for violating the restraining order. They had enough documentation, past violations, footage, emails, that he wouldn't walk out that night. Would you like to press charges? The officer asked. Yes. And your mother? I hesitated. Was she charged? She was cited for facilitating the violation. She'll likely be fined. Maybe community service. Okay. I didn't say more. I didn't know how to explain the emotional pit that statement left in my gut. That my mother was now part of this. 3 days later she called. From a new number. I picked up, stupidly thinking it might be a contractor or a client. Hello? Her voice was sharp. You got me arrested. You got yourself arrested. I was trying to help fix things between you and Raymond. He just wanted closure. He was stalking me, Mom. Oh, for God's sake, you make everything sound so dramatic. I could barely breathe. He left pictures under my windshield. He followed me into the forest. He emailed me dozens of times a day. He is not safe. You don't know that. He's in jail. For you. Because you couldn't just sit and talk with him like an adult. I ended the call. Blocked the number. Then I blocked the second number. And the third. Then she started sending relatives. Aunt Lydia came first, with cookies and scripture. Your mother meant well. Then Uncle Greg. She's from a different generation, Adam. They didn't have therapy back then. Each one got blocked. I wasn't playing mediator in my own trauma. Cameron and I sat down and drafted a list of everyone we trusted. Everyone else? Radio silence. We set up a camera network, changed my alarm codes, and installed a video doorbell. I've never seen you like this, Cameron said one night as we checked the system. I've never had to be like this, I said. But I'm done giving anyone the benefit of the doubt. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from Raymond's lawyer. He was contesting the restraining order extension, claiming unlawful emotional distress and mischaracterization. My lawyer laughed when she read it. Let him try, she said. We have more than enough. The court didn't buy it either. Raymond was sentenced to 6 months for the violation. The restraining order was extended to 5 years. And my mother? She was fined $2,500 and sentenced to 200 hours of community service. She was also included, at my lawyer's request, in a no-contact clause tied to the order. That meant 2 years. 2 years of silence. Peace. It should have felt like a victory. It didn't. Not yet. It just felt like breathing for the first time in months. For 2 years, I didn't hear a single word from my mother. No calls, no letters, no uninvited appearances at my door with banana bread and guilt. And in that space, that silence, something in me healed. Not completely. Not neatly. But enough. Enough to laugh again without flinching at shadows. Enough to sleep without checking my security cameras 5 times a night. Enough to feel like me again. Cameron and I moved in together about 6 months after everything went down. We bought a small but sun-filled house on the edge of town, nestled next to a nature reserve. No more shared keys. No more just-in-case access. Just us, and the life we chose. I installed motion detectors, of course. I wasn't stupid. But I also started opening the blinds again. Letting light in. I called this period the quiet. My photography flourished. I hosted a gallery show called Inhabitants, focused on how animals protect, guard, and shape their environments. I shot bison in Wyoming. Lynx in the snowy edges of Montana. A mother fox and her kits in Michigan. Each one protecting their space like their lives depended on it, because they did. I was finally protecting mine. The letters started again exactly 2 years and 3 days after the no-contact clause expired. The first was simple. I'm sorry you were hurt. I never meant for things to go the way they did. Please call me. No acknowledgement of what she did. Just regret that I had been hurt. That I hadn't just understood. I didn't respond. The next one came 2 weeks later. You've always been so dramatic, Adam. But I forgive you. Can we move on now? She forgave me. That one went straight into the shredder. Cameron found me afterward, staring at the shredded pile like it might spell something if I stared long enough. She doesn't get it, I said. She never did, he replied gently. And then came the letter. Handwritten. Blue ink. Perfect cursive. Smelled faintly of her perfume, a scent that used to remind me of holidays, and is now forever linked with violation. Adam, I know you're still angry. I don't blame you. But I was only trying to help. Raymond told me you'd had a misunderstanding. That he just wanted to apologize. I saw a man in pain. A man who needed closure. I never saw him as dangerous. How could I have known? He was always polite to me. Always respectful. I'm your mother. I deserve a chance to explain. I gave you life. That has to count for something. I'll be at St. Mary's on Sunday. Visiting your grandmother's grave. Come by if you want to talk. I didn't go. I never even considered it. The thing about being violated, whether it's a break-in, a stalker, or a parent giving your abuser a key, is that once it happens, your world changes shape. Your definitions change. Home no longer means safe. Mother no longer means protector. Love no longer means unconditional. Natalie asked me once if I ever missed her, my mother. I said, I missed the idea of her. The one I made up in my head. The version who would have protected me. But that woman never existed. Because that mother wouldn't have handed a key to someone I feared. Wouldn't have prioritized harmony over safety. wouldn't have tried to mediate between me and a man who left drawings of me in my mailbox. The woman I actually had? She was never going to see what she did as wrong. And that meant I had to stop waiting for her to. About a year ago, I got a message from my cousin Jenna. Your mom's in the hospital. Heart attack. She's asking for you. I read it 3 times. Waited to feel something. I didn't go. Didn't call. Didn't send flowers. I replied once. I hope she recovers. Please don't contact me about this again. Some people would say that was cruel. That I was cold. That blood is blood and family is forever. But those people never had to lock their own doors against their mother. They never stood in their hallway, watching a stalker touch their things, knowing their own mom invited him in. They never had to sleep with a tripod by the bed because they couldn't be sure what their parent would do next. So no. I don't feel guilty. I feel safe. And safe is enough. Cameron and I got married at a vineyard in Oregon. Just 30 people, friends, chosen family, people who understood that respect is more important than tradition. My mother wasn't invited. Several relatives declined in protest. That was fine. We had more champagne for the rest of us. Natalie gave a toast that made everyone cry and then laugh through the tears. To Adam, she said, who proved that peace is worth fighting for. And that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. I teach workshops now. Mentoring new photographers. Helping them find their voices. And every so often, someone will ask about my story. About boundaries. About what to do when someone violates them and the people around you don't understand. I always say the same thing. You don't need anyone's permission to protect yourself. Because I wish someone had told me that sooner. Last month, I got a message from a former student. She just ended a toxic friendship and was being guilted by mutual acquaintances. Did I do the right thing? She asked. And I told her the only truth I know. If they were willing to hurt you and call it love, then yes. You absolutely did. Because love without respect isn't love. And forgiveness without accountability is just a reset button for abuse. My mother taught me a lot. Not intentionally. But powerfully. She taught me that some people will choose peace over truth. Harmony over safety. Image over integrity. And that sometimes, the only way to be safe, is to not let them back in. Thank you for staying through this entire story. If you ever had to cut someone off for your own safety, even if they were just trying to help, I want you to know. You're not cruel. You're not cold. You're brave. And you're not alone.